Hi guys, this is Scribbly with another review video, and today we are going to have a look at the Kaweco premium nibs that are out since quite a while. Kaweco has sent a few of those to a bunch of reviewers out there. I think some of them have already published their reviews. I'm slightly late to the game. I tried to sort of like give it some time, to form an opinion about those right here. I've been sent those by Kaweco. Thank you very much for that, for sending me those review samples. Most of you will be familiar with, or in the meantime already know what it is all about with these premium nibs. For those who are not, let me just give you a quick summary of that. Kaweco does produce those very nice Kaweco sports pens and also a bunch of other pens. Kaweco up to now has made steel nibs and gold nibs. Now we will from now on refer to the steel nibs as standard steel nibs, because now Kaweco has also released those premium steel nibs right here. And according to Kaweco, these premium nibs, as the name says, sort of like provide you with a premium writing experience, which is supposedly very close to a gold nib without you having to pay the price premium of a gold nib. Just for reference, these Kaweco steel nibs cost around 35 euros. These premium steel nibs, a regular Kaweco steel nib costs like I think 12 or 15 euro or so, and I do believe that the gold nibs go for around 60 to 80 euro, something like that, maybe slightly more, but that's the rough ballpark. So then these premium nibs here would be a quite okay deal if they would provide a gold nib writing experience, that is. These premium nibs come in, I think, extra fine, medium, broad, double broad, and so on. I have gotten medium nib versions here. They do come in gold and silver color. Of course, it's steel because it's a premium steel nib. They then lay in here. I have the silver one installed on this Kaweco Sport Brass right here. Here you see the gold one. It's a slightly different nib design. It says premium and then M for medium, and then it has like the Kaweco logo in the middle. Show you that installed on the pen in a second. And then it has sort of like this kind of like sun ray pattern, like sort of like sun rays radiating outward from the Kaweco logo, as opposed to, the regular Kaweco nibs, which has also the Kaweco logo in the middle, but then some scroll work right around there. That was the fine steel nib that I had installed on this Kaweco Sport Brass here, but then I uninstalled it for the purpose of the review. So here now for the review, we do have a Kaweco Sport Brass with a premium medium steel nib. And we have a Skyline Sport, the plastic version, with the silver accents, with a regular, sorry, that was me banging into the camera, with a regular extra fine, in that case, steel nib with the scroll work on. You see, slightly different nib design right here. I find them both beautiful. What you prefer is up to you. This one looks a little bit more modern, minimalist. This one here looks a little bit more traditional, old school. I do think that they're both beautiful. But let's now get down to writing with those two. Let me cap that one here for a second so it doesn't dry out. The other one here was now uncapped for a while, so maybe it dried out a little bit. Let me also zoom in a bit so you see this a little bit better. And let me just do, some writing right here. All right, so I mean, those regular fine nibs do provide a pretty nice writing experience, in my opinion. Not regular fine nibs, regular steel nibs, of course, in extra fine here. Writes kind of wettish. Very nice, no hard starts, no issues, nothing, everything fine. I can actually squeeze quite a bit of line variation out of those regular nibs, which I find quite pleasant. And the writing experience is kind of bouncy and springy. I do like it a lot. Let's go now with the premium nib in medium here. So it will write slightly wider. Yes, so that is the premium nib. Obviously, it does write slightly wider because it's a medium nib, not an extra fine nib. I think one difference that is pretty apparent, and that is not only because the medium or the premium steel nib here is slightly wider, but it really writes quite a bit wetter. Now, when it comes to smoothness, I must say that the premium steel nib is quite a bit smoother than the regular nib. It's actually much smoother than the regular nib. It feels like sort of like, you know, you get that feeling of sort of like warm butter on glass, whereas the regular steel nib does write with considerably more feedback. Well, what's better? I don't know, right? That's up to you. There's these people who want sort of like their super smooth, glassy, smooth nibs. If that's what is you, then maybe the premium nib is a good one. If you do like a little bit feedback, you know, if you like your platinum and sailor pens and so on, then I would say that the premium nib definitely is a tad too smooth for you. Then you should probably go for the regular steel nib, or stick with the regular steel nib for that matter, because that's the nib that most of the Kaweco pens do come equipped with. I do believe that no pen comes equipped with the premium nib. You gotta buy that as an add-on. So yes, final verdict in a nutshell, the premium nib does write a lot smoother, almost so smooth that you almost expect it to baby bottom, but then it doesn't, right? I mean, like, it's really, really smooth. There's very little feedback from the page, and the premium nib does write considerably wetter, whereas the regular nib writes slightly less wettish and does provide you with more feedback. Final considerations. Does it write like a gold nib? No, I don't think so. I really don't think so. I mean, a gold nib is typically a lot more, not flexy, but, you know, bouncy, springy, like it is just like a different feeling. Now, getting that feeling with those short nibs is really hard. Kaweco does have gold nibs. Those gold nibs from Kaweco, they are also not super springy, bouncy or whatever, which just have to do with like the nib being very short. The nib slit is very short, which makes the tine width very short, meaning that those very short tines, right, they just don't have a lot of, you know, they just don't have a lot of, like, if you have very short tines, as opposed to quite long tines, there's just not a lot of, like, you know, physically there's not a lot of room to move around and be bouncy and springy and all that kind of stuff. So no, I don't think that this writes like a gold nib, because a gold nib, the characteristic of a gold nib is not writing very, very smooth, because, I mean, Sailor has 21 karat gold nibs. They're as feedbacky as a pencil, and that's what people love them for. Pelikan has gold nibs. Aurora has gold nibs. All of those are not necessarily glassy smooth, and but they're gold nibs. Their characteristic is that they write bouncy, springy, all of that. The characteristic or USP, whatever, the writing experience that you get from this nib is just pure smoothness. And smoothness you can also achieve with any other steel nib that is just like polished very, very well. So all in all, you know, you might also find it a little bit, you know, almost questionable that you have like two versions of steel nibs, whereas sort of like one steel nib writes less great than the other. Then you might ask yourself like, well, why not just simply make great steel nibs? Why sort of like sell your pens with a not so good steel nib and then, you know, tell people if you want a really great writing experience, you gotta buy something on top of that, which sort of like maybe undervalues the standard pens in the first place, because you might think you get less of a writing experience. That's just me rambling. That's just like a couple of thoughts of mine. I don't think it writes like a gold nib. As I have elaborated, smoothness is not a characteristic of gold nibs. There's a lot more to that, to a gold nib than just that. The regular nibs that come with the Kaweco pens are already great. If you look for something slightly wetter, for something much smoother, if you really like this super smooth writing experience, as said, and if you're not familiar with doing your own nib tuning, I don't think that $35 is asked a lot. You know, it's a smart move. You do get a good nib, right? Don't get me wrong. This is not a criticism. This is just my thoughts. This is by no means a bad nib. It is a premium writing experience. You will get a fantastic writing experience out of that nib. It is a lot less feedbacky than the regular steel nibs. It is a lot more consistent in the line, as you can see here. It is a lot wetter, it is a lot smoother. If all of that is what you're looking for, hey, please do go and get yourself a premium nib, right? That's my verdict, that's my 2 cents. I hope that video was useful to you, and I'll see you at the next video. Ciao, ciao.